Welcome to the 4th episode of Bouldersaurus. In this episode, I'll be climbing on the back corner set at Central Rock Gym Warwick. This section of wall provides a mix of overhung, vertical, and dihedral climbing, which makes it one of my favorite sections to climb on. Instead of organizing the climbs by difficulty like in the last episode, this time I'll break them up based on which days they were set. I'm really excited for this episode, and I hope you enjoy. Let's get going. We'll start this video off with one of the more challenging climbs. This orange climb has a combination of thin, rounded crimps and large slopers. After starting the climb, you must switch feet on 2 small crimps that are close together. The more close together your hands and feet are, the more unstable your body is, which also makes a foot switch right here tricky. From here, the move to the large sloper is also a challenge, given the awkward position of the left foot. After this, careful body positioning is needed to push your hips to the left and make the best use of the large foothold. The final hold is a finish hold and needs to be controlled with both hands. Next, we move to one of my favorite climbs of the set. This climb is made up of volumes. Aside from the little jibs screwed onto them, they are slippery and have no texture. Here, you can see a close-up of what the holds look like. After moving across, you must press up to reach the next hold. Then, get a high foot up, and then do a large cross move to the penultimate hold. I like this climb because it's aesthetically interesting while also being accessible to many climbers. This next climb is probably the easiest climb in this video, but I wanted to include it because I found the movement to be interesting. In climbing, you must strengthen different types of grips for the variety of holds you'll encounter. One of those grips is a pinch grip, and despite being an easy climb, this one really forces you to practice pinching. And that happens right here, where you must pull on this pinch with one or both hands to move to the holds on top of the volume. My dad, who's my climbing partner, struggles with pinching, and this climb was a great way for him to learn how to really pinch a hold hard. Sometimes when climbing, you'll encounter a climb that has a move you just can't quite do, and this pink V7 is a good example. The climb starts with a move called a toehook, where you must hook your toe around a hold to hold yourself in place. I could set the toehook just fine, but getting it to stay there after the first move was a challenge. It kept popping out. I must have tried about 30 times, but didn't get much closer. There I go! Bye-bye! Anyway, still working on the start, but here's what the end of the climb looks like. I really want to get the start because the end has a lot of powerful moves on slopey holds and it's just so fun to climb. Usually with moves like this, I'll try a bunch of times and then change like the tiniest little thing and suddenly I'll be able to do it. So here's to hoping I can post a full send in a future video. Now, let's move on to the second day of the reset, and you'll notice there are more climbs on the wall, including this one. With a mix of crimps and one big boy sloper in the middle, there isn't anything in particularly interesting about this climb that I would like to highlight, but it is a climb that I saw people approach in a different way. The moves through the start are the same, but once folks get past the large hold, there are many options for the end. I opt to use a heel hook on the large hold to move to the top. It's not the most necessary thing, but I do think it makes it look just a bit more fancy. This pink V5 is an example of a climb that didn't really seem to know what its purpose in life was, but despite that, I still had a lot of fun climbing it. Sometimes the purpose of a climb is clear. It may be teaching you a particular move, give you practice with a certain type of hold, test your strength in a certain way, but this climb sort of did a bit of everything. It used a variety of different holds, it tested a bunch of different skills, and used a lot of the terrain shapes on the wall. The end is a little bit precarious and requires a stable position to succeed. Guess what time it is? It's time for me to squish myself into a corner. Some people have cool climbing specialties, like making dynamic jumps or pulling hard on tiny holds. Me? Well, I can wedge myself into a corner. It's not cool by any means, but it helps on a climb like this one. An inside corner is called a dihedral, and they're a chance for me to use my mobility and flexibility to my advantage. After pressing up into this corner, you'd usually have to struggle and press on those bad slopers, but I just drop my right knee down squish into the corner, and reach past all of it to a good in-cut crimp. I have to be careful though. Notice I switch my right hand down to stabilize myself so I won't swing out, which is what happened to many people at this part of the climb. This was one of my favorite climbs on the set since it played to my strengths, and, well, I just like squishing into a corner. Sometimes in a set, there's a climb that's just purely fun, and this one fits the description. As you'll see in just a moment, this climb requires a dyno, which is where your hands and feet all break contact from the wall in an impressive looking jump. These are always my favorite because they look impressive but aren't really that challenging, so it's a good way to impress folks who don't really know much about climbing. I find the second half of this climb even more fun since it's another opportunity for me to scrunch up and move through these holds before stretching back out again to hit the finish hold. This is probably a climb I will climb every time I'm there. We'll wrap up the set with this white V6 featuring crimps on an overhang. This climb suits my strengths in that I am at my best with technical moves on small holds. You'll notice I'm very deliberate with my footwork and where my legs are positioned in this climb. When holding on to small holds, you must optimize your body to put yourself in the best position to stay stable. The crux of this sequence is here, where your hands are close together, disrupting your center of gravity. After taking a moment to readjust my feet, I move into the top part of the climb. The top hold is a finish hold and will complete this set. There are 2 other climbs on this set, but they're much too hard for me to make any progress on. I hope you enjoyed watching and look forward to sharing more climbs with you in the future. Adios.